Hi everybody, and welcome to Garden Style. So today I'm going to cover with you what the upcoming garden trends are going to be for the year 2020. And there's quite the list. So I've decided to break this apart into 3 different parts so it doesn't go for too long. But I thought here in January, as we're all dreaming about our gardens and trying to get started for spring, that we might as well just sit back and get an idea as to what we can see or expect that's going to be up and coming for the spring of 2020 as we get psyched up to get back out in the garden and start planting. So the very first trend that you're going to start to see all over the place has actually been coming since last year, and that is about the bees. It's all about the bees this coming year. And we have a huge display that is sitting here behind me that has everything to do with bees, whether it be honeybees or mason bees. So if you don't raise your own bees, you can certainly get into the bee spirit by picking up some odds and ends, some little trinkets, as well as learning what you can plant in the garden that will attract more honeybees as well as mason bees to the garden. And that will be a whole separate video that I can do on just that section alone. As I teach you guys, and as the plants start becoming more and more available during the spring, I can go over what some of those plants can be to plant in your own yard that will attract lots of honeybees as well as the mason bees and get that pollination going on. So I just feel it's real important, being we are seeing a decline in the population of honeybees, that we do everything we can as gardeners to start attracting them and helping them to thrive rather than just survive. And there are several reasons the honeybee populations have been declining. Climate change being one of them. It's also human. More and more people are realizing that it's not a good idea to be using chemical pesticides in the garden. It's always better to go organic. There have also been certain funguses that have been killing the bees, and some other unknown things that they're still studying to try and figure out why the populations are declining as fast as they are. So to me, I feel it's just a real important subject to bring up first so that we can all be more aware, and awareness is definitely raising, especially in the last couple of years, as to what we can do from our end to help the honeybee population. The next trend that you're going to see up and coming, which has been up and coming, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, but it is now really taking off, and that's houseplants. That's right, houseplants. More and more people are realizing that houseplants can not only help purify the air, but it's actually a lot of fun to have something really pretty in the house, and you learn how to nurture something rather than killing it. And there are so many different varieties out there that have become extremely popular. So again, that's a whole nother video I can do for you, and we'll cover houseplants. And that might be something I do first as we start covering the trends for 2020. Being it is January, and it's a perfect time to start looking for houseplants. And I'll also be teaching you how to transplant them, how to take care of some of your basic houseplants, being there's so many different varieties, and keep them alive and thriving in the house so that you can not only enjoy their beauty, but it also helps to freshen the air, purify the air, and they find it's healthy to have houseplants in the house. So another up-and-coming trend to keep an eye out for. Another trend that is definitely taking off, and that is learning how to use native plants in your own yard within your own region. More and more people are finding out that native plants are tough as nails, and there's a reason why they thrive and survive in the areas that you live in. So I highly recommend that you start honing up on what the native plants are in your particular region, and I'll be covering what some of the native plants are here in the Northwest in Zone 8, and what we can utilize a lot in our own yards to not only cut down on the maintenance in the yard, but you can guarantee that you probably are not going to kill them. They're pretty used to the climate that they've already been growing in for years and years and years, and now more and more gardeners are starting to figure out that native plants are just kind of an awesome thing to start mixing in with all the other plants that they already have in the yard. And a lot lower maintenance and much easier to take care of. Another trend that is definitely hitting the scene hot and heavy this coming year, and that is learning to grow your own food. Now you wouldn't think that this would be a trend, right? That this would be something we've been doing all along. But more and more millennials and the younger people are realizing it is a lot healthier to be growing your own food rather than depending on all the food that you're getting out of the grocery store. And let's face it, there's been a lot of E. coli going around and a lot of recalls when it comes to lettuce, vegetables, that kind of thing. So more and more people are trying to hone up and learn how to grow their own food in their own yard. And at least that way you know where it's coming from, you know it's organic, and let's face it, it just tastes better when you're growing your own food. So of course we'll be touching on that as we start getting into the spring as well as the summer. And probably the very first thing we're going to cover will be fruit trees and berries, because those are the very first things to start hitting the garden centers as early as February. I know for us, as soon as Valentine's Day is over, here come the deliveries, and we'll see lots of berries and fruit trees coming on the scene. So I can't wait till this stuff starts to show up, and we'll start covering a lot of those, and what you can do as a gardener at home to become successful. And it doesn't mean you have to have an acre of land in order to grow veggies. In fact, I'll be covering a lot of things that you can do in a container. So you live in an apartment or a real small area, there's no excuse. You should be able to grow your own herbs or your own veggies throughout the entire year. There's always space for one more plant. Another trend that's coming up is low maintenance gardening in general. With the busy lives that a lot of us spend now, either on our phones, in the car, or at work, with family, there never seems to be enough time to get out in the garden and spend the kind of time you would like to. So more and more people are going to low maintenance gardening, and this is going to be a huge subject for me that I'm going to be covering as well during the spring and summer, as I too am very busy, and there's an area of my yard that's definitely going to be low maintenance. Now, does that mean it needs to be ugly? Not in the least. And I'm going to show you how you can landscape an area of your yard and have it be low maintenance from here on out, and something that is gorgeous year-round. So that's another exciting subject that I can't wait to cover. Now, the trends that I've discussed so far, either having to do with bees or plants, there are other trends that are also coming hot and heavy onto the scene. And that is the gardening tools and accessories that we use on a daily basis. Things that have a gardening theme to them. And a lot of those themes you're going to see not only in pottery, but you're also going to see it in garden art and other items. So that's another separate subject that I'll be covering, as we are already starting to see some of the new trends rolling into our own shop here at the nursery. So big things coming up, especially in pottery, will be concrete. You're going to see concrete in all sizes, shapes, and colors. And the reason for it is it's an all-weather type of material. So if you're buying pottery in concrete, it can last through the winter, no matter where you live. And there are mixes of concrete and plaster pots that are lightweight as well, that you can leave out during the winter. And there are all kinds of textures and shapes and colors, and just some beautiful pottery that you're going to see in my upcoming videos as I introduce you to them. Another item that is on the scene hot and heavy is galvanized, anything galvanized. Now, it used to have a real farm, kind of cottagey type of look now, but galvanized is now becoming more modern and more upbeat. And you're going to start to see those trends as well up here in the spring and summer, as we start to get a lot more of our planters in and that sort of thing. You're going to start to see more and more galvanized items. But they don't look quite as rustic or as farmhouse as they used to. They're now becoming a lot more modern, and they look pretty sleek, and let's face it, they can put up with the weather. So galvanized is another great way to go with the gardening trends that are coming up here in 2020. Glazed pots are still in style, and you're going to start to see more and more colors as well as textures and shapes in galvanized pots. In glazed pots. A lot of your glazed pots are meant to stay outside. They're all weather glazed, but you have to be careful when you're purchasing them. But there is also some beautiful glazed pots for indoors. Whether it be modern, a little more traditional, or something in between, you're sure to find something when it comes to glazed containers that will suit your fancy and show off your favorite plants. Another one that's a real trend right now is going au naturel. So you're going to see a lot of wooden crates, wooden pots, anything made of wood, something that's rustic, that does really well outside as well as inside. And it's another great way to start showing off a lot of your plants. So I can't wait to show you what some of these trends are and what they're about. But the very first subject I'll be approaching first will be with honeybees and mason bees. We will start having classes here as early as end of February, beginning of March, regarding how to raise mason bees, and more people are getting involved in that. So if you're interested in raising your own mason bees, we actually have a video available on YouTube. You just got to look it up, or you can go to our website at sunnycrestnursery.com. It's about an hour long, and it's a great way to learn how to raise your own bees at home, especially if you want to raise fruit trees or berries, or you just simply want to help out the bee population. That's a great way to go. So many exciting things to go over. I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am for 2020 and some of the new trends that you're going to start seeing here in the future. So stay tuned, if I can spit it out. Stay tuned with us, as I'll be coming out with another video next week. And the very first phase of that will have to do with honeybees as well as mason bees, and what plants you can start to plan for in your own garden to help attract these little critters into your own garden and help keep their populations thriving rather than just surviving. All right, you guys, I hope you had a fabulous holiday, and I hope to talk soon. Bye for now.